you will be able to get that, which is nice. So that should be good. Hopefully that's not blocking any screen for you here. So hopefully you guys will be able to see my screen perfectly. I'm going to bring up the actual Berta Breaker software that you will be kind of looking at here. And why we're going to start with the passcode breaking software is because, well, A, if you can break into that phone, it's a lot easier for you to pull the data off of that phone, both logical and physical, and of course to gain access to other PIN codes or passcodes that might be used for the Cloud Explorer or to break into those cloud services like Facebook, like Yahoo and all that. Now, for those of you that don't know Sistine, we are the largest mobile forensic software company that's actually headquartered and created right here in the United States of America. So everything you're going to be looking at was designed and created here in the U.S., which we are very proud of. Our flagship product, which is SecureView, is in use in over 1,000 law enforcement agencies. And of course, the Berta Breaker, which you'll be looking at, is now in use with every major federal agency across the U.S. So we're very excited about that as well. So I want to make sure that you guys can see my camera here. Hopefully you can. I'm going to move this over. I want to make sure that we're not blocking any part of the screen here. So I'm going to move this over a little. And let me come over here. So big. So again, hopefully you guys can see my video or can see my camera without blocking too much of the information here. I'm going to try to pull it down maybe. But I do want you guys to be able to see my screen anyway. Let's see if I can do this a little bit better for you. And if we need to move it, sometimes we can. Now, what you're looking at right now is you're able to see the actual robot. This is our robotic base. This is controlled by the software over on the left. And what it does is basically, we created a product a few years ago. Some of you might have called it was the SV Strike. It was a little box. And what it was used for was it was used for breaking into cell phones, but only cell phones that were USB OTG capable, it was able to talk to. So I'm going to close that up and move it, and I think you guys are able to see my picture on another screen, so we should be okay. If it's blocking any of the other software guys, just shoot me a chat message and let me know, but I think we're good to go. But basically, our Strike software was good for USB OTG phones. Well, what are those? Those are, of course, your real nice expensive ones, your Galaxy S6s, S7s, your more expensive HTCs. But what about all the others? What about, of course, the famous Alcatel, the One Touch? This is the reason we built this thing. Or your cheaper HTCs, your burner phones, your throwaway phones, your prepaid phones. 60 million of those sold in the U.S. every year. No one can break into them because they're not smartphones, right? There's no USB capability to talk to. So what we did is we created a robot here that's capable of breaking into the phones, and we're going to show you a new software as well. So real fast, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of basically throw an Alcatel on here, and we're going to see if we can break into this quickly. It's a one-touch phone. It's inundated in our prison systems. It is not USB OTG, meaning there's no other passcode breaking software that would be able to break this on the logical side of things. Yes, you could do a JTAG possibly on this type of phone, but then you're destroying the phone. And in this regard, you don't need to. So all we do right here on our passcode breaking software, we find where our center offset is. And once we find where that center offset is, we can move that phone. Now the neat thing is, our Berta Breaker robot already has pre-settings built into it for a lot of phones. So for a lot of phones, you'll actually already have the settings built in there. Not, obviously there's going to be a lot of phones that will not already have the settings built in, but they're easy to put in once you've done it. So now we're just going to find our center position. Once you find the center position, I need to know the button to the right, which we're dead on, the button north, which we're dead on, and then I need to know how to keep this phone awake. So I'm going to see how to keep this phone awake. And it looks like we're doing it. I'm going to kind of zoom in for you guys here so you can see a little bit better. And now we're keeping that phone awake. So now all we have to do, basically it's an OK key, meaning that we press an OK key after each attempt to break into that phone. Our lockout period is 30 seconds. Why? Well, it's a normal Android here in the US, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to hit run. And it looks like we are good on, and what it's doing is it's entering PIN codes to break into this phone. Now, I'll move my screen up here. It's actually telling you what PIN codes it's entering, and of course, I'm using my my trusty camera here for you guys to be able to see through WebEx. But if I wasn't, I'd connect my camera right here, and what it's doing is it's actually taking a shot of every attempt to break into this phone, and it's building an evidence report for you so that it's going to have an evidence report of every picture of every attempt to break into this phone. And now our phone is locked out, so is our software. So it's, again, keeping this phone awake so it can restart its attack, which is pretty cool. And we have our sensor on here. We now have the most advanced sensor in the industry. We just demonstrated it yesterday at a local regional computer forensic crime lab here. And it's able to actually sense the screen change in the phone, so it can easily see when that phone opens up and stop the software, which is wonderful. We might break in on the next attempt, so I'm going to be quiet and let's see. And there you are. Now you have access to this phone and all of its goodies. So the neat thing with breaking into a phone this way, obviously on certain phones you can still JTAG, meaning you're ripping the phone apart, you're soldering it, you're pulling data off the chip. But the thing is, Android is starting to encrypt their chips, right? So as more of those chips are encrypted, you might be able to pull the chip out, but you're not going to be able to read that encrypted data. Whereas with the Berta Breaker software, you're able to break into these phones doing the normal way, using a PIN code. And what happens once you've entered a PIN code? Well, that phone's unlocked. Once that phone is unlocked, you have access to logical, file system data, all of that type of data, which is awesome. So this is a game changer in our industry. Now, the neat thing is, with the robot, with the Berta Breaker, it works with all types of different software. So if you currently have software in your lab that you love using, whether that's a a foreign product, a Celebrite, or an MSAB, or SecureView, our product, it doesn't matter. This works in tandem with all of them, which is wonderful. So it's real easy to get in and out of a phone. Okay, so nice and simple. It's really that simple to use. It's building the evidence reports. There's different, obviously, we can go into more details on it. But yes, actually, someone just asked if we can do certain PIN codes. Yeah, you can do 4-digit PIN codes. You can do 6-digit PIN codes. You actually add them right here. We have different advanced passcode lists so that literally the most, it's awesome. Basically, we calculate the most commonly used PIN codes across the world. So we have date breakdowns. We have the U.S. way of doing things, which would be the way that we do. So February 1st, February 2nd. So the PIN code would be 0201, 0202, and so on. We have it the European style, international style, where they go 21, but then 22, 32, 42, so they do it the opposite way. We have all of these type of lists built into the Berta Breaker, so you can easily break in. So the average time to acquire that phone PIN code is usually under 4 hours. The longest amount of time that it could take would be 17 hours. But if you use the most popular passcodes, you're in there very quickly, which is nice. No, whoever's asking about the 10 attempts, that's only the iPhone, and this is not built for iPhones. With our software, you can actually do iOS, you can break into iOS devices up till 8.0, but that's it. After that, they'll lock out. So there you are. So again, the software and the robot, very easy to use. These things are actually built in your lab. Now, the Berta Breaker, this is for departments that do, 20, 30, 40, 50 phones per month. You know, these are built in large government labs, state labs, but you'd be surprised. I actually have this in the coroner's office. Well, they purchased it anyway, and they use the robot as well. But again, this is a major kind of piece of equipment. On the inside, there's actually a sensor, and not just a sensor, but it's a capacitor. And what it's doing is it's mimicking, it's going down to the stylus, and it's actually mimicking the electrical magnetic impulses that your fingers, your hand puts out, our bodies put out, so that it's able to talk to these phones, which is really neat. But not just that, not just on the hardware side of things. I'm going to show you some of the software that's involved as well. Give me a second, I'll pull it up on my screen for you. Everyone give me a second here. Now, there's a software component to this as well. Why is there a software component? Well, because we've done a pioneering breakthrough which allows us to talk to phones that aren't even if they're not OTG or they're not even smartphones, we can now talk to additional Androids as well. So I'm going to show up my new screen. This is our software-based service, which was SV Strike. And again, in the past, it was only good for USB OTG phones, but now it's available for basically everything out there. And hopefully you can still see a shot. I'm going to show you this phone. I'm going to zoom in here. It's a pattern-locked HTC Desire. Not a smartphone, not a nice phone by any means, but an HTC Desire. We're going to break into this thing even though it's pattern-locked. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull this up. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to maximize. Move this over to this screen. So here you go. So what we're going to do is this interface is actually going to allow us to talk to this phone. And if you can see, and if you'll see better soon, what we're actually doing is we're actually telling the software, hopefully you can see it on your screen there, we're telling the software where our buttons are on the phone, where basically the pattern locked buttons are on the phone. And you'll see it good now. And now it's going to start to attack that phone. And there you are. And it's talking to that phone, it's breaking into that phone, and it's doing those patterns for us. Now on the bottom, it's showing you the pattern that is entering on the phone. And of course, if you can see my picture, you can actually see it being entered on the phone as well. Now I don't have my sensor hooked up to this one, so I'm just going to hit stop as soon as we break in. I think it's going to lock us out here in a second, and then we should be able to get through on the next few tries here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so now the phone is locked out for 30 seconds. The software automatically senses that, and the software also locks itself out. On this particular one, it's locking itself out about 7 seconds longer than what is needed. It just does that to be careful, make sure that everything's matched up correctly. And I think we'll be able to break in on our next few tries. So we'll take a look. I'm just looking at my camera. Hopefully you guys can kind of see there. Yeah, and you'll see when it enters it. In fact, let me shut off the lights a little so you see less glare. Maybe that'll work better for you. And here we go again. I think on the next try I might get it. Let's take a look. And now you have access to that phone. So again, once you've been able to break into these phones, now you have full access into them, which is awesome. So I can't stress enough just how amazing the new tool is. I mean, it's been a godsend. We have it now, the Berta Breaker, at a multitude of locations, and it has been helping out with so many major cases. And again, if anyone is interested in the program and they need like testimonials, we have plenty of testimonials of major agencies that have used this on major cases. And I can't stress enough how much it's helping out there, which is awesome. So again, why I like to show this to you guys is because SecureView or Sistine, we don't just do the cloud, we don't just do mobile forensics, you know, we're an all-inclusive suite. So you get to see basically everything that we can do, all-encompassing, which is wonderful. So that's nice. So I'm going to pull up another thing here. Give me 1 second. See if I can pull it up over here. And as we're moving into the cloud. And I'm trying to get you guys in and out of here fairly quickly. I know you're all busy and everything else, so that's no problem. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get you into the cloud there. Give me 1 second. I don't need this video anymore, so I'll shut off the video. Should give you guys a little bit more room. Okay. Let's make this a little bigger. Now, what else can we do? So, of course, we have the new cloud software, but again, how are we getting into the cloud? How are we getting into our suspect's Facebook? Now, obviously, the easiest way to do that is to get their username and password. It's quite easy if they're the victim, then they're going to give that information out to you a lot easier, obviously. But same thing, maybe you don't. Maybe they're deceased. You have permission from the family, but the family doesn't know the username and password. Well, what you can do is this is a software program that comes along with our cloud software. And some of you will be able to use this, some of you will not. It's going to depend on your jurisdictions and what you're legally capable to do. This is a particular program that would run on someone's computer. So basically, you would get a warrant, not just for their phone or their cloud information, but for their computer. And you can actually run this then on their computer. And what it does is it basically goes in there and pulls login data, history data, web data, bookmarks, cookies, shortcuts, directories, all of that type of stuff directly off their computer. And then you can use it in that cloud to go ahead and log in. So I'm just going to run real fast. I think I'm not using Chrome, which is good. I'm going to hit read. Give me a second. It's going to pop up on my other monitor here, so give me a second. I'm going to hit OK. And now history is going to show you, this is every bit of history off of their Google browser, their Google Chrome browser. So you can see there's quite a bit of information there. I will not show you more than a split second the login history because that's going to be some of our stuff here. But login data is going to be their username and passwords right over there on the left. Any type of web data, bookmarks, if there's any cookies, which there's usually quite a bit, you can pull that data off of as well. And once you have this information, you can export it on over to your Cloud Explorer, which I'll open up in just a second. And then you're good to go. So you're able to pull a lot of that data and get you into that Cloud Explorer, which is wonderful. So without further ado, I am going to open that up for you guys. Give me 1 second here. Now, one of the things I'm not going to go over today, but I will be doing a major webinar next week if you guys are interested, is I'll also be going over the actual mobile forensic software, which is SecureView. SecureView was the very first mobile forensic software out there, going back years and years, and it pulls data off of, Androids, iPhones, feature phones, tablets, you name it, logical, physical, all of that type of stuff. So that's one thing that you'd be able to utilize. Now, the Cloud Explorer. We are very, very excited to open up this Cloud Explorer at no cost to all law enforcement agencies, which means if you're a law enforcement agency, all you'd have to do is attend the webinar so that we know you kind of know what you're doing with it, and then download it from us and you're able to utilize it. So this is a way of us saying thank you for everything you do and giving back, which is very important. You will have access to what you see here, these different, in fact, I'm using my hand, but you guys can't see that, you're going to see the mouse. So you're going to have access to these type of services at no cost. We do have a full version that has access to over 20 different mail servers, as well as other different services. That's part of our Apex Physical Explorer, which you can upgrade to at any time. It's still not that expensive. It's under $1,500, and it gives you physical, basically you can read physical images and access to all cloud services that we offer, and we're adding about 2 per month, so you'll continually get those. But at no cost, you will have access to these. Now, before we get started, I want to show something right here. There's a disclaimer. This is my interior version, so it's not here, but you will have a big disclaimer here. Why is there a big disclaimer? Well, because you need to make sure, and again, this varies by state and it varies by country, but you're going to want to make sure that you have the proper search warrants needed or the proper wording in your warrant needed to access cloud information. So please make sure you're checking with the local DA or your local rules and regulations before you start logging into people's accounts. Reason why is because, well, say you serve Facebook, Facebook's here in America, but guess what? One of their servers might be over in Indonesia or might be over in Malaysia. Well, that could open up a can of worms. You do want to make sure that you're kind of versed on the legality of the warrants and before you start using the cloud. So again, you'll see the full disclosure and it will give you some more information on that. But I do want to bring that up because it is important, guys. We want to make sure that none of your evidence gets thrown out due to improper wording in the warrant. So keep that in mind. Now, to create a new case, you literally come here, you create a new case, you're making a new folder basically. So it's that simple. To go ahead and add accounts, say you want to pull data out of Facebook or iCloud, you're going to click here. It's going to have you log into Facebook, iCloud, Yahoo, any one of those, and you'll be able to follow the authentication process to go ahead and start pulling that data. Just a heads up, guys, it can take a little while. Like if you're pulling data on someone's Yahoo and they've had Yahoo for 12 years now, this pulls quite a bit of data. So I mean, it can take an hour, hour and a half to pull all that data out of a Yahoo. Facebook, same thing, not quite as long, but I mean, if they post a lot, if they're a daily poster, it's going to take some time because you're going to pull off quite a bit of info, and I'll show you what that info is here in just a second. I think it's this one. So we've gone ahead and pulled off some Facebook info from you, a few drop boxes, some Twitter, and some Yahoo here as well, so that we can show you. Once you've gone ahead and you've opened your Explorer files, there's nothing left to do. There's no button that turns on. You just come up here to the top, you click on Browser. Now, mine's going to go a little slow because I'm on a laptop and I'm using my internet to broadcast this to you guys versus obviously on here. But again, you'll see just how simple it is to use. So you have a few different options. Number one, obviously keyword search at all times. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Sistine. I'm going to go back a few months. Should pull quite a bit of data. I'm going to hit search. And it's going to load into our timeline down here at the bottom. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. So now you can see the timeline on the bottom. Timeline is fully functional and it's fully interactive. As you click on the timeline, it's going to load the stuff into our main browsing window. So that's important. So the stuff that it's automatically going to search to would be emails, any posts, events, files, and then literally just everything. So this is August 2016. You can start to see some of the differences. These are going to be files that were uploaded into Facebook. And when you're able to pull this information, it pulls not just the file, not just the picture, but it's also pulling, of course, the comments, the friends that commented, so you can see quite a bit of everything involved with those posts, which is nice. On the right-hand side, you'll see this map get a little bit more interactive as we start to go to the actual geotag coordinates. But right now it's showing just a geotag of everywhere they've been, basically, is what it's going along. So that's how this is happening. Now, the different files you can actually open up, make larger so that you can see them larger. And of course, just like our forensic products, you can always flag for evidence. So you can come here, flag for evidence, and you can create evidence reports. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a report with the file, any additional information, and then your comments on it as well. So that's important. Now, you don't have to use the timeline even though it's there. You can literally click over here in the tree. You can come down. This will take a minute to load. But you can go through everything individually. So now you can see every contact that they have on their Facebook. Every contact that they have, their different Facebook information, all files. And we'll give this a second to load for you guys too. And it's going to pull up. This is going to pull up over 649 different files associated with Facebook. So again, it can take a while, but you're going to be able to load all of this information individually, and all of these can be flagged for evidence. okay? So it's nice and simple to use. So here we have a Geotag Coordinate. You can see, of course, that it was a mobile upload. You can see who liked it, and you can see the actual picture of what was uploaded there. So there you are. Now, not just that, you can also just search by location. So now you can see anything they uploaded with GPS coordinates, you can search by location. Here's Boston Logan Airport. I do a lot of presentations all over the country, so you'll see a lot of airports there. But here's Huntington Beach, Port of San Diego. So there's quite a bit. So anything that's geotagged, you can actually go ahead and zoom in on to find that information. Hawaii we have here, DFW Airport. So you can see terminals down to, of course, just how well their geotags were. And of course, any events. And if that event has a tag that goes along with it, some of them do, this one does, you'll be able to see that as well. So that's Facebook. So it can pull just about everything off of Facebook. Yes, Messenger as well. In fact, I didn't have any of the information in messages, but you can see with Twitter what a messenger would look like. Anytime we pull off any type of messaging app, it's going to show up like this so that you can see the actual thought bubbles of what they're talking about. So this would be different text messages that might be in the cloud, Facebook Messenger, this type of thing, you're able to see as well. And again, here's Twitter, all the posts that go up, all the different files you can see. So again, I can open these and make them larger. And there you go. Any additional properties, there's probably not going to be much out of the cloud, but any additional properties you can go ahead and sort through as well. And again, you can always flag these for evidence right here and comment on them so that you can build your evidence reports with them. So nice and easy to use, guys. And same thing, Yahoo, you can pull contacts, you can pull the emails, you can read the emails. So everything that's available there, you can kind of go through, which is wonderful. So now, not just, this is a great way of searching through a lot of the data, but then we make it even easier for you as well. I'll give it a second to load. We also just do a straight gallery. And the gallery is literally going to pull any picture that they have in any of these app services. It's going to pull those pictures out and sort them here. And I shouldn't just say picture. It can also be any type of PDFs that they might have loaded, and basically any type of like document you're able to see. You can, if you don't want to see some of the services, you don't have to. You can search just certain services right there, and you can view that information as well. And again, down at the bottom, you can continue searching through the different pictures. And there you are. So these are PDFs. You can click to open. Pictures, videos, everything that's an actual like file, you can view here in the gallery. And you can hit search again. And again, the cloud service is going to be different from the data that's kept on the phone, because sometimes that phone, and it was a good question someone asked, sometimes that phone, of course, they might be offline, or they might be using a different, like Facebook on their computer versus on the phone, and they might not have had a chance for the phone to basically update or connect to the server and update with that Facebook or Yahoo information. So the great thing with the Cloud Explorer is this just gives you a different avenue of pulling that data. So if you have the suspect's phone, they have Yahoo on their phone, and you're using Yahoo on the Cloud Explorer, it's going to be all that same information, okay? The reason why is because they're already storing that same data on their phone, but that being said, there's a possibility that it might not be. There's a possibility that just maybe, since they didn't send an email from their phone, but sent it from their home computer, you'd want to use the Cloud Explorer to basically validate your results and pull additional information out of there. And it keeps going, and you can see the different uploads and the different things that were taken. Broward County Sheriff's, when we did a presentation there. So quite a bit of information you're able to get. And of course, then you get your evidence report. And to build your evidence report, we even allow you to put your department's logo in here. So your department's logo shows up on the screen, or I'm sorry, on the report for every printout. And of course, case number, any warrant information, examiner name, department, and you can export that data either into PDF or XML. So if you want to export that data in XML so you can load it into maybe Nuix, FTK, or Encase or something like that, you're more than welcome to as well. So it's a real neat tool for you guys to be able to use. So for all my law enforcement guys out there that will have access again to these services at no cost, that is going to be available for download come Monday. You're going to receive an email from me, and you'll be able to download that software and the user guide so that you'll know what you're doing. In that time, of course, we are doing, if you don't currently have SecureView, if you don't currently have the Berta Breaker, if you don't currently have, our other tools, Apex, which is our physical analyzer, which also has the full version of the Cloud Explorer, please either email myself, if you have my information, or whoever you've been talking with here at Sistine, whether it's Aaron, William, or Krista, and they'll get you the information, the additional info on those tools. We are very proud, again, to be the largest mobile forensic company that's actually a U.S.-based company. So we're here in the U.S. Everything's created here, which is wonderful. The robots are now built here. The capacitors are built here. So we're very excited to lead the way with U.S. companies. And that's it for me, guys. I wanted to keep this nice and short. Next week, I am doing a full webinar on the mobile forensic software, the passcode breaking software, and Cloud Explorer again. So if you guys want a little bit more in depth of a webinar, it runs about a little over an hour. I'll invite you back to that one as well, but I am very excited for you guys to have access to these tools. I'm very excited for it to help keep our communities safer. And again, thank you so much for doing what you do. That is why we're getting this out to you guys at no cost, because we believe that law enforcement should have every tool at their disposal necessary to be able to help their communities. That being said as well, same thing, guys. The Berta Breaker, the robot, it is a new, literally an amazing tool that we can barely keep in stock, but it's an expensive tool. And if you're a small agency, if you need help getting into a phone, please never hesitate to call. Anyone here that's from the SecureView, they'll back me up. We will always do what we can to try to help out. So if you have a locked cell phone, and obviously you're a smaller department, or you want the Berta Breaker, but it's in next year's budget and you need help, please just contact us. We do chain of custody. We'll break into that phone before you. We'll send it back out to you, and we'll get you on your way. So it's that simple, guys. But on behalf of everyone here at Sistine, thank you so much for taking your time. I'm excited about getting that out for you. I'm going to send you guys a chat message real fast. You all have my email just in case you didn't before. So anything else you need, you guys just let me know. But everyone have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. Thank you all so much. Take care, guys.